Hey everyone, this is your favorite girl, Corine La Font, your only favorite host and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines? Always with gratitude, always with thankfulness. It's a bit overcast today. I just looked up to see the sky. A bit overcast. There's a lot of rain happening here in Trinidad and Tobago. You just don't know when it's going to rain, but I am thankful. Either way, rain, sun, it doesn't matter. The good thing is that we don't have the seasons of the snow and all the different things. So we're just happy with the rain and the sun. And you will see with me Lana McAra, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Just give me 1 second to grab her information and just close off something here. So let me tell you a bit about Lana. It's taking a while to come up. So since her divorce 13 years ago, she has gone through a magnificent transformation from a timid, anxiety-ridden victim of narcissistic abuse to the confident, spiritual healer and media personality she is today. That meant a lot of breaking down of old mindsets, shedding tons of old belief systems, and a complete renovation of her self-image. I can totally relate. For her, that meant a name change. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Yes, she took on a new name as part of her transformation. Lana has established herself as an award-winning author and ghostwriter of 43 titles with more than 1 million books sold. Her historical novel, Reaping the Whirlwind by Rosie Dow, which was her former name, has won 3 national awards. She's a TV host, radio host like myself, and delivered a Blue Talk at Harvard. We're going to check out her website, as you know we do here on Between the Lines, a little bit later, where she would be doing a little giveaway. She has a free gift that she wants everyone to download, and of course, feel free to connect with her on her website. Welcome, Lana, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much,
It's great to have
Corina.
you.
I am delighted to be here today.
It's great to have you. And I see some people are watching, so I want to just extend a warm welcome to them. And also, don't be intimidated. Feel free to post your questions in the chat. What do you call that now? In the comment section. So this is streaming live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. So wherever you're watching from or streaming in from, we want to appreciate your presence and connect with us. Put your questions, put your comments, anything at all. Make it positive though. In here, and we're going to feature it at the bottom of the screen so that you will also get your moment of fame and glory. Okay, so Lana, today we're talking about, I failed to mention, today we're talking about the second act Reclaim and reinvent yourself in your 50s and beyond. Let me read that again. The second act. Reclaim and reinvent yourself in your 50s and beyond. Now, you know, Lana, or let me not make that assumption. When you hit your 50s, some people nowadays thinking it in the 40s or even 30s, but you feel life is passing you by. You haven't accomplished anything. Probably I should be put out of pasture. A lot of people think that way or make you feel that way. Why would you want to reclaim and reinvent yourself in your 50s? Why should we be thinking along those lines?
Well, I always, thought in my 50s, I've got 40 years left. 40 years is a long time to get something
That's right.
done.
That's right. Tell them, Lana. Tell them.
So I was in a long-term marriage. I was married for 30 years. I actually had my 30th anniversary that year. And we went through a crisis, something happened. I hadn't been happy for a long time. And things were building up, right? And because I had children,
Hmm.
what you do when you have children, you
You
put those
stay,
troubles in a box and you put it over there
of course. Of
because of the
course.
children.
Yeah.
And eventually the box came open.
Who busted open the box, Lana? Who busted open the box?
It was a friend of mine, a friend that I had years and years before. We hadn't heard from each other for 20 years. She moved, I moved, and then we both moved again, and I lost track of her. We were best friends in our
Yeah.
20s. And I got an email,
Hmm.
and it was from her. And I thought, that email is only 4 minutes old. I bet she's at home. She's at her computer. And so I looked at her phone number and I called her and
Nice.
she picked up. And I hadn't heard the woman's voice in 20 years. And so as we were talking, we're going through the children and what they're doing and where we are
Hmm.
now and all this.
Yeah.
And I
Catching
said
up.
to her, yeah, catching up. And I said to her, my brother-in-law is living with us and I'm really having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
She said, oh, that's what's wrong with you. This whole time we've been talking, I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're not right. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And she said, girl, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to listen to me. You're about to have a breakdown. I had one. She said, I had one a few years ago and I know the signs and you're heading for one right now. She said, your husband is dead wrong. Get out. And I was just like, what? I
You
couldn't,
did not call her for that. You did not call her for that, Lana. You did not call her for that news. Oh my.
shocked. I was shocked because here's the other part of the story. My husband was a pastor, and my friend, a very dedicated Christian. And so my Christian friend just told me to leave my pastor husband.
That is for another episode, Lana. Lana, that is for another episode.
I was totally overwhelmed. I mean, I couldn't even think.
Lana,
So,
you don't do that. Lana, you don't do that. I need to rename this episode. I need to rename this episode. You don't leave a pastor, Lana. That is unheard of. Do you
yes,
want to be ostracized? How could you? You don't do that. The whole thing is you stay no matter what.
yeah,
Okay? He could be murdering you. He could be. You stay. Okay?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I believed that. I believed that until that day. I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, I've got, X number of days. I'm going to leave him here. I'm going to leave him this year. I had no thoughts of that, but I knew she was right because I was like here in the water and I couldn't keep going. I was going to go under. And
That's a true friend, and you should thank her immensely. And of course,
oh,
pray for her. Pray for her because I'll tell you something, Lana. We have friends and we have friends. And there are some friends who are afraid to come forward and tell us these things because they're afraid of losing the friendship. They're afraid of what you will think of them. They think, you want to tell women things. And the first thing that comes to their mind as a woman, you want my husband. You want my husband. You want to take my man. You want to mash up my life. When that is the furthest thing from the truth. We're trying to save you. We see it and we're trying to save you.
Yes.
The good thing about it is that she spoke to you and the Holy Spirit moved in you to hear what she had to say.
Yes.
And you were humble enough to hear it and recognize it's not coming from a place of selfishness. It's coming from a place of love. It's not coming from a place with a motive or an agenda or some sort of, it's coming from a place of love.
Yes.
The second act, not a lot of us, Lana, and I'm sure you know, not a lot of us have the opportunity to have a second act. Sometimes there's one act and we're gone. We're gone. Okay. We're gone. And you mentioned in your bio, I read about narcissistic abuse. I am quite familiar with it. Quite familiar with it. I know it inside and out. And I made it almost as long as you. I did 27 years in it. So I am quite familiar. And you find that they still come around. Beings like themselves still come around in your life. But the beautiful thing about it is that you've worked on yourself, and we're going to go more into that. You've worked on yourself, the healing, because I want to also get the message across to persons who are listening to this and want a second act to understand how you transition, besides the name change, which is necessary, how you transition into having a successful, purpose-filled, happy second act where you reclaimed your life. You took it back and reinvented yourself. Share with us some tips on how you were able to make that transition.
Thank you, Corine. I feel like we're vibing so good here. We're just communicating so well. Yes. It was really difficult for me. When I got to my sister, I went to my sister. My sister is a therapist. And I thought she'll find me someone, to talk to help me get myself straight. At the time, I wasn't thinking divorce. I was just thinking separation. I've got to get myself together, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So once I got there and away from the marriage, I realized I could never go back. There was no fixing this. This was too serious. It was not going to be fixed. And so because of the therapy and so forth, my therapist told me, your husband's a narcissist, right? And I went, what?
Yeah.
30
That's
years.
typically. When you hear it, you're like, what? What is that?
Yes, I didn't have any idea. And I also was thinking, well, how did I miss it? I mean,
You're an intelligent woman. You're an intelligent woman, Lana.
Yeah.
But then how would you know? You're not looking for this. You don't think that these things exist because it seems like so far out. Does something like that exist? People actually are like that.
Yes.
So you're not going to miss something you're not looking for, you don't think exists.
Exactly. And I just knew I had to get through the next day. And the next day.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I realized that I had to earn a living, it was a very scary thing for me, a very frightening thing to me, because I was a stay-at-home mom, 30 years of no job, no resume, no skills,
That is the
skills.
strategy, Lana. That was part of the plan
Yes. I was
to help
writing
you
books,
dependent. Yes.
but you don't know if you're going to make money on a book. You can't make a living on books.
Yes.
And then I couldn't write because I was so emotionally just
Of course,
wrecked.
the PTSD.
Yes.
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 So,
And people who don't know what that is, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. We will have a follow-up talk on that, Lana, but persons could Google it and you will see what, just a taste of what that is about. I don't think any explanation or book or even Google could explain to you, because that is just words on paper, words on the screen.
yeah.
But when you're talking wreaking total havoc on your mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Yes, your entire being, your
Yes.
body. I was in so much pain. My
Mm-hmm.
shoulder was locked. It was in so much pain all
Uh-huh.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just so many things that I was in misery, on every level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, what am I going to do? And I went and looked at the job market, what I could do. And to me, I was thinking, maybe I could work in a store, a retail store, or maybe I could clean houses. I know how to clean. I literally sat down at my kitchen table and said a list of all the things I know how to do.
Yeah.
And then I looked at which ones maybe I could earn some money. Because when I went to get a job, the wages was so low that I couldn't even pay rent, much less eat. I need to do both, pay rent and eat.
And eat. We're not, hello, you haven't even gone to health yet. Not even to health. You just want to eat and have a place to sleep. We're not talking
Places like,
good health. We're not talking facials and manicures and pedicures. We're not talking vitamins and minerals. We're just saying basic food and shelter. Basic.
yes, very basic. And so I worked in my mother's office. My mother had a business. I worked in her office 2 days a week. My mother was another problem, and I knew I couldn't stay working for her forever, just temporarily till I could find something else, right? So, yeah,
I'm laughing. I'm laughing not at you, with
I
you.
know. I understand.
Let me stick a pin here, Lana, and let me let people know something. When I was going through my own cycle, like Lana, and I started to discover what this thing is about, narcissism and narcissistic abuse, and I went online and looked it up and ended up joining groups. And I realized, wait a minute, did we all go to the same school? Did we have the same? It's the same thing. It might happen at different time periods, but it's the same phase right through. It's like a textbook. Chapter 3, this is what you're going to go through. Chapter 5, this is it. So everything I'm hearing Lana saying, I am laughing. And I am at the point now I could laugh because it must be a joke. So, because it's like you're actually telling me my own story.
Mhm.
And you're telling the people who are listening and watching their story. And what I like, Lana, so far about what you shared, is you started to think. You knew that you realized, one, the first thing you shared, there's no turning back. I can't go back to this. And it takes a while to come to that place where you realize you are worth more and you deserve more. And you deserve better. The second thing I realized you said was that I need to find a place to sleep and I need to eat. So you had to find some way to make an income. Whatever that is, it could be in a store, it could be cleaning house, the menial, not to put down anybody who is doing this, but things that you start to look at your skills. You are a stay-at-home mom. You're raising kids. So you start to pull from those skills that you already know. You could take care of kids, you could cook, you could clean, you could wash, you could iron. You went to that because you had no other recourse. So of course you go to the things that you know.
Yes.
And the parenting, your own mother, you realize, going back to my own mother, it's not the relationship and the tension. Because when you're an adult and you have to go back to your parents, the treatment, It's worse than when you were a teenager.
Yes.
Keep going, Lana. Keep going.
Yes. It wasn't easy when I was a child. When it was worse when I was an adult.
That's what I'm saying. It's worse.
And looking back now, I realize that my mother actually trained me to be okay with a man who treated me that way.
Lana, stop talking. This is where the episode finishes. Because, because that is exactly what I discovered myself. You on your own would not have attracted such a thing in your life if you were not trained for it. And I want people to hear this. If you are in a relationship and you mightn't recognize it's abusive because you're being trained that it is love. What you're going through, it's love. Of course he loves you. Of course she loves you. Because it happens in both genders. It's not just the men, but predominantly it's the men. So you have been trained for this, sweetie. And so what I tell people to do, and I would love to hear Lana's thoughts on this, you have to undo everything that you were taught by the people who you call your parents. Lana, say something about that.
Wow, is that ever true? Wow. So I went into therapy and I started doing other things as well to break the pattern in my thinking.
Yep.
It took a while. But now when I meet someone new that I've never met before, that's why I'm so keyed in on our conversation here, because it's so wonderful to get each other, right? But when you meet someone new and suddenly you begin to feel insecure, you begin to feel like you're doubting yourself, and you don't feel like you have any power, no voice. Hold on, time out right now, because that person is targeting you. You are not a weak person.
No, you're not.
You're strong.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start feeling weak, watch out who you're talking to.
Yeah. If you start to feel out of breath, like you start to build up an anxiety within you, like, hold on, could we just, if you start to feel, I said, oh, could we just slow down? That is what you need to do. And from the time you start to tell someone, it doesn't matter who, to slow down, you will see their reaction. They go into defense mode and they start to project on you and say, why are you behaving like that? They start to blame you. Yes. That is a sign.
Yes,
Keep going, Lana.
Yes, I stopped looking at trying to figure out their behavior and started looking at how do I feel. Right. They can defend their behavior and say, oh, I didn't mean it. But then on the other hand, how do I feel? That's how I feel. Not making it up.
Hold on, Lana. Hold on. Let's go back a bit. At the beginning, you said it was all about the children. Yes. Forget about you. So now you have realized that in putting you first, your self-worth has now been lifted. Because where you should have been redirecting it in the first place, you were putting it on everybody else, on the husband and on the children. And as a result, that was noticed, of course, and that was taken advantage of. But now you're taking that energy that you used to place in everyone else and put it in you. It puts you in a stronger position.
Absolutely. And I want to say that my youngest son was 18. I didn't have any small children at home at this time.
Thank God.
Were all young adults. Yes.
Thank God.
Yes, absolutely. That was, I sat down when I was thinking about what am I going to do. I realized my youngest son is 18. Okay, I can make some choices here. And that was part of it. So what I did was I realized that I could do online virtual assistant work. I had been marketing books. I'd been writing books for some years now. That was kind of my hobby, what I did in my spare time. And I had learned how to do some things on the computer. I knew how to do some social media. I could do some webinars and that kind of thing. And so I reached out to all of my friends who were online. I said, do you need a virtual assistant? Can I help
Yes.
you? And one
Yes.
person hired me. One person hired me. She was
Thank
paying
God.
me $20 or $25 an hour. I can't remember. It was like $20 an hour, $25 an hour. And from that one person, I was able to begin to make enough money to at least food and shelter. I was really I mean, I was eating ramen noodles.
Hey, hey, you look good. You look good for a ramen noodle. You look good.
But at least I was okay. And from
Hello.
there, I was able to work up to
Lana, you
more income.
can't do the gourmet. You can't, you have to look at that ramen like a gourmet dish, sweetie. Plate it like a gourmet dish.
Yes,
Okay? Light the candles and everything and set the flowers. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was I was so grateful because I had no one there talking to me, putting me down. I had no one there but me, and I had some space to get my mind clear finally after all these years.
Isn't that wait a minute, Lana. Tell me, how does that feel? Let's kind of put that in a little bubble. Like if we were to encase that, the life of not having to talk to anybody and have that peace with your ramen noodles compared to before where you had the gourmet and the whatever, but it's not in peace. I want you to express in a few words what that means. This versus this.
Oh, wow. I'll take peace any day. Any day. Yes. I have talked to so many women and they've told me their story, and I tell them what happened to me, and they say, "Oh, I couldn't give up my house. I couldn't give up the vacation and the cars." And I'm thinking, "So you're shorting your life. You're shorting your life for a nice car." What? What? So, yes, that
Wow,
has been
Lana. Do you
amazing.
know, and this is not to sound gory, but it leads when you're under those kind of toxic conditions. Some people, like I said, don't get out and they commit suicide. That's the only place they are led to be, to commit suicide. I have read it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard the story. Some people, like in the groups I participated in, they're afraid to even post or share what they're going through.
Yes.
They're so scared to leave because they're thinking, where am I going to go? How am I going to live? These are the questions because that is how you are made to feel. I have no money. I have no skills. Some have young children that they can't. What is going to happen with the kid? So they're like, you know what? Let me just stay here.
Yes. My heart goes out to people that feel trapped like that.
It is.
And I was talking to someone just recently within the last 2 months, and she said, "Well, I finally filed for divorce, but I didn't want to do it because we're buying a house and
Wow.
we're going to lose the house. And I feel trapped," she said. And I said to her, and I'll tell you what I said because it's so true, and it was true for me too. When we feel trapped, it's often because we know the options, we know the choices, but we don't like it. We don't like the choice, so we don't do it. We stay where we are. Leaving my family was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life, and I've done some pretty
Lana,
hard things.
Lana, don't. Lana, we're supposed to be here for 30 minutes, right? Just remind me. We're supposed to be here for 30 minutes, right, Lana?
Yes.
Lana, Lana, the pain. I
Yeah.
don't, nobody can understand what it is to have to separate from your children. And you're made to feel bad about that, Lana.
Yes.
Abandonment. But I will tell you this, Let that pain feed you. Let that pain feed you. Lana can endorse this. Let that pain feed you. Because when people try to guilt you or shame you or put you down for doing the right thing at that moment, because you see, and this is how I think about it in my situation too, Lana. If I don't preserve myself, how am I going to be in a position to help you?
Yes.
It makes no sense having two crazy people, two craze. So somebody need to be saved, and it guts to be me. And
Yes.
I have made that decision.
Yes.
If I was willing, I was and is and will always be willing to take the risk that if you hate me for doing what you may not understand at this point, or somebody influence you to think otherwise, you may hate me. I am prepared for that because I pray as a praying person, a spiritual person, a person who believes in God. I pray and I know you will come to your senses one day. You may be angry now, but one day you will understand. Lana Fleur is joining us. As you can see, I've been posting up her comments. And she says your emotions, that you see that thing called emotions?
Mm-hmm.
Cloud your vision. The play on emotions cloud our judgment because people make decisions based on emotions. You have to separate that thing called emotions from what is. From what is. Lana, say something. Say something, Lana. We're supposed to be here for 30 minutes. Say something.
Yes, I feel like God sent me a message from heaven that day that I needed to save myself. I was drowning and I needed to save myself. If it not for that phone call, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have ended up in the emergency room.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably. Not even ramen could have saved you. Probably.
No. No.
Fleur has a question for you. What's your position on emotional abuse? Isn't it all
Emotional
tied
abuse.
in? Isn't it all tied in, Lana?
Yes, it's all tied in because someone who makes you feel less or makes you feel weak, um, they are not your friend. And it is very important for you to get with people who support you, not tear you down. And yes, there could be a cost. And I felt when I left my family, I felt like I had reached in my chest and tore my heart out with my two hands. I felt that much pain. But now, on the other side, now that I'm healed, I realize if I had stayed there, my children would not have a mother.
You
I
have to
would
sit
be
up for that.
gone.
You have to sit up for that, Lana.
Yes.
And that's what we're saying. If you don't protect it, what do they say on the plane? If something is going on the plane, you put on the mask first.
Yes.
And then there's a reason for that. It's not being selfish. Is I can't help you if I am not in a position to help you. I got to do the work.
Yes.
I got to do the work to be in a position to have the strength. Right now, I don't have it.
Yes.
Lana, the second act. Is this the second, third, fourth, or fifth? Which one? We lose count. Which one? Because when you're going through this thing, you don't stop at second, you evolve.
Yes.
You
Yes, exactly.
evolve and you keep getting better and stronger. But here's the thing, Lana, and you could tell me the person that you are today, if it wasn't for what you went through 30 plus years ago, would you be the person you are today?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
So there is a good and a bad side to it. I don't like to see things as good or bad. But people ask me if I have regrets. No, I don't. I had to. Not that I would choose it. I wouldn't walk into a store and choose narcissistic abuse or any sort of abuse. But
Yeah.
it happened to me for a reason. And let's kind of go back again. We were trained. And so I firmly believe, that God, like he says, he knows the plans he has for us. And he saw it and he knew that, okay, so I send you on earth through these people called your parents, and they did this to you. I have to find a way for you to undo all of that so that you can become the child that I meant for you to be.
Yes. That was hard for me because it broke all of my preconceived ideas about what I should do. I was a pastor's wife,
Eh,
and
what
this
you
was
mean?
not acceptable. But at the same time, it happened.
Do you know how many pastors' wives are going through this right now?
Oh,
That
yes,
cannot make the breakout. They cannot have a prison break because
yes,
because they how it would look in the community. So in other words, you're living for everyone else.
yes. That's right. That's right. And I lost all my friends.
Nothing
There
wrong
was
with that.
nobody.
You
All
got
my
new
friends.
ones. You
Yeah,
got new ones. The ones that meant to be in your life, Lana. Listen, Lana.
yeah.
You have written 43 titles, sold over 1 million copies.
Mhm.
You think you could have done that? Listen, without going through what you... Come on, Lana. Come on, Lana.
No, no.
You would have been comfortable in the house, being the housewife, continuing to do that and, mind the kids and continue to take the abuse. And you wouldn't be looking as beautiful as you are now, well polished and everything. I'm sure you're not eating ramen noodles right now, you know. So, hey,
One
how
step at
is
a time.
of how is the relationship with your kids? That's what I want to know.
Well, I didn't have any relationship with them for 2 years. And
Mhm.
then my son called me. One of my sons called me and said, "We miss you.
God
If
is
you come back,
good.
we will come and see you if you move closer." And so I did. I moved closer. And that
Mm,
began a healing process with my children. All my children we're good. We're good now.
thank
And
God.
my grandchildren, yes, it healed. It took a while,
It
but it
will.
did heal.
It will. So people in their 50s, listen, 50s is young. Don't get it twisted. Okay. So I'm saying that. Okay. 50s is young. 50s is the new 20s now. Okay. Let
Yeah.
me tell you. There are people, like I said, I've been in groups, still in a few of them, in their 60s, 70s, and can't get out. They're not seeing a way. They want to, but they can't. And they know that some people are not even still on this earth as a result.
Yes.
So don't think, and Lana, you could tell me, don't think that you cannot start over with a second act, third act. I don't care which act it is. If Fast and Furious could have so many different different movies or whatever, I don't understand why we can't. And we are not a movie, although our life sounds like a movie. So you could be in your 60s, your 70s, I don't care, 80s. You can start over and listen and start over with a blank slate. Do you know how great it is to have a blank slate that you could decide what you want to do with that? Lana, tell us something. People in their 60s and 70s, what are you saying to them?
Well, I'm in my 60s. I've been separated. I've been divorced, separated and divorced for 14 years now. So do the math.
No, we're not doing the math here.
One step at a time. And one thing I did, which is very simple. If I did something that helped me feel better, feel stronger, I did that. And then I try something else. If it made me feel stronger, feel better, I did that. So I was like climbing a ladder, stronger here, stronger there, stronger here. And I just went one step at a time.
Hold up, Lana. What you're saying is you fed your soul. You did the things that brought joy, peace
Yes.
to you. All the things that you were not doing before and sacrifice for everyone else, you poured back into you and say, you know, I like chocolate cake. with bananas and whipped cream and cherries on top. And and I am going to get that. And I am share it. I am going to sit here and I am going to enjoy. I don't need any company. I don't need to ask anybody permission. I am just doing that. And even if you're sick at the end of eating it, you're like, yeah, that felt good
Yes, that was for me.
for me. For me.
Yes.
Right? You do the thing. You're not asking anybody permission. You're not saying, what do you think? You don't. Listen, you reach a point where you don't give a you know what.
Yes.
Tell them, Lana. Tell them.
I had something happen a few weeks ago where I had a real big win. I spoke at Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
I did a Blue Talk at Harvard University in Boston, Massachusetts. That was a miracle. That was a straight up miracle.
The
So I
fact that
told
you're alive
someone,
is a miracle. The
it
fact that you're
was,
alive is a miracle.
and they didn't celebrate with me. They didn't celebrate with me. They actually made me feel bad. And I got off the phone. It was a family member. Got off the phone. I was just I was so disheartened. I felt weak again,
Mhm,
right? I felt weak.
mhm,
And I sat down and I said, I choose happiness. What do I need to do to feel happy? I choose happiness. And I sat there and I thought about it and I realized I don't have to take on someone
mhm,
else's idea. I can still love
mhm.
them. They're my
Of
family,
course.
but
Of
I don't
course.
have to take it on. I know what I did.
Love from a distance. Ever heard
Yes,
about it? Love from a distance.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh my God. And you see what you said there is so significant. You recognize when that feeling started building up in you that you started to feel weak. You started to feel vulnerable. You started to feel something going on that is not making you comfortable at all. And you recognize that and acknowledge it. And you talk to it and said no, and you had to do that self-talk. Do that self-talk. You see, I have your website up. Guide me through it. I think there's a free gift, correct? Is this it?
Yes, yes. If you go to lanamccara.com, that
Mm-hmm.
is the novel notebook. It's a video and an ebook, and it
What
tells
is
you
it?
how to organize a novel.
Well, looky here. Look what it's doing. It's putting in my information automatically so everybody knows how to reach me. What is this, Jesus? Eh? I come here and I'm scrolling down thinking that the thing is blank. It automatically put me in there. What?
It's too smart.
Right? Well, it's two smart people here. It's two smart people here on this
That's
episode.
right.
That's right. So you can get the free ebook and video. And you do ghostwriting. Tell people what ghostwriting is about quickly.
I write books for people. So if someone has a book idea and they
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to write, they never learned, I
Mm-hmm.
can talk to them, get their materials, take their ideas, and make a book out of it for them.
Awesome. Awesome. And do
Yeah.
you have take it to the next level of publishing? Because I'm a publisher. So, and
Ah,
I'm also an author. Yeah, I'm also an author and a publisher. So do you take it to the point of helping them to get it published or to a publishing house? Do you do that?
I just make recommendations and then they go find a publisher. I don't do the publishing part of it. I'm too
Okay.
busy with the writing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you. Too busy from somebody who wasn't trying to figure out what to do every day. now,
Yes.
now you're too busy. Oh, okay.
Yes.
No
I've
problem.
ghostwritten 16 books so far. 16 books.
Wow. So let me tell people something. You see, when you have a ghostwriter, that person takes the stress off of you. They don't take any credit for the book, obviously. Unless, of course, you want to have an arrangement with the person and say that you co-author it or whatever, you can make that sort of arrangement. And co-author means that both your names or whoever it may be would be featured on the book. But it does take the stress off of you. And it is just a matter of, like you say, doing the interviews, collecting the information and putting it in a structured form. And having somebody like Lana, I would think, with such experience in writing, would be a good person to reach. Yeah. And Lana, I think, you just never know. You and I may be able to do some stuff together. Yeah, I think we would be a good pair. We would be
I would love it. Yes,
yeah.
that would be so great.
And yeah, I think we would make a very good couple going for two non-narcissistic people. I think we would make a very good, healthy relationship because we
Right.
are just going to do the things that bring us joy. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Oh my God, Lana, this has been awesome. Oh, Three, there is my darling. Three is watching. She's saying, what is your website for the novel? I just featured it a while ago. Let me see if I,
LanaMcAra.com.
let's see if I could put it in the chat. Where can I put that there? Let me see. Yes, I think I just put it in the chat for you,
That's
Three.
perfect. Yes.
Yeah,
Just go there and you'll get it.
Yeah, she's actually calling in from or watching from Jamaica, and Flo is actually from in Trinidad and Jamaica and Tobago. So you're actually getting some Caribbean love here, sweetie.
Well, I lived in Grenada. I lived in Grenada 14 years. So when I hear your accent, I'm like, oh.
No. Yes. You need to come back. You are officially a Caribbean islander. I'm telling you, you need to come back.
I have been feeling that. I have been feeling it.
You need to get some sun on that skin, girl. You need to get some sun. Yes. Right? Three is saying thank you. Yes, I call her Three.
So well.
Yes. So she's saying thank you. She's a darling. Thanks for being here, Three. Thanks for being here, Flo. As I said, this was supposed to be 30 minutes. But somehow, the clock did its own thing. Okay. Yeah. And we are still here. But Lana, clearly we need to do some stuff together. We need to reach more persons, male and female, who's going through all of this. We need to reach persons who don't know how to get out and let them know that, hey, we made it. So can you. So can you, and give people hope. And you can have a second act. And like I said, third, fourth, and fifth, there's no limit to reclaim and reinvent your life. Although we title this in your 50s and beyond, it can also happen to you in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And pay attention to the way you are being parented, and don't just accept things. Don't just accept. I know that when you're living in your parents' house, they say you have to follow the rules or whatever, but be discerning. Pray. I'm telling you, be discerning and pray and question. It will help you to avoid probably even getting into certain relationships. It could be a friend. It doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a friend. It could be a boss. It could be a sibling. Doesn't matter. Just to help you. Lana, any final words before we go?
This has been such a blessing, such a wonderful blessing being with you today. Thank you, Corine. Thank you so much.
Oh, I never anticipated, but that's the thing about when you come onto my show, you just never know where it's gonna go. Yeah, based on the conversation. You just never know where it's gonna go. And it end up being like we are besties. I am telling you, Lana, there are people who still reach out to me. We're on WhatsApp now. I'm telling you, and we're talking to each other post-show for years. People reach out to me. Feel free, Lana, anytime to reach out to me. And we need to have a meetup in Grenada. That's what we need to do.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's been a pleasure having you, and to all the persons who have been watching and listening and commenting and sharing, asking questions on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.